We're driving the Colorado utility now. It's an LTZ spec double cab 4x4, popular vehicle with our readers, as most double cab utes are now. And it's become a real contender in the market due to the revamp Holden's given it. They've fixed a lot of the things that we've mentioned, like the noisy engine. Inside it's also better because it's got an all-new dashboard. It's still a pretty good off-roader, but here on day one of 4x4 of the year, it hasn't gone so well on some of the tougher climbs, but the Colorado has always been a great touring vehicle. So we think that once we get up into the high country on those open trails and tracks up there, the Holden Colorado could be a contender for 4x4 of the year in 2016.
Colorado's had a massive sort of improvement from the previous models. You know, the new one, it's a lot nicer to drive. You know, it feels there's torque sort of a lot lower in the rev range. It's a lot quieter. The interior feels definitely a lot better. A lot of things are sort of laid out just like someone's actually driven it before they've built it this time. You know, they didn't just sort of chuck it together and say that'll do, people will buy it. It's a lot better vehicle.
I really think that that's the type of car that you would buy if you're looking for a weekender, something to tow the dirt bikes, that type of thing. The engine and the drivetrain in that Holden has come a long way. It's a beautiful, beautiful engine. That Duramax has really got the power when you need it, and the gearbox is quite smooth as well.
We struggled at the 4x4 proving ground with off-road performance with the Colorado. At full extension, when it lifted a wheel, the traction control simply wouldn't do the job and you'd be stuck. We didn't have those sorts of conditions in the high country, so had we only driven it off-road in the high country, we might have had a different opinion of it. It performed pretty well out here. The traction control seemed to work okay and the slippery stuff, so long as we didn't pick a wheel up off the ground.
I don't think I really drove it on any steep uphills. I drove it down some steep hills and it seemed to work fine and all that sort of stuff. But like I said, it was hardly outstanding in any way.
It will do the job. It will go to the Fraser Island happily. It will take the family to Moreton Island. A lot of that sort of touring, it would be perfect for. If you wanted to start looking at a Cape York trip, it will do it, but it's starting to get to the limits of its capabilities.
Again, wheel travel is a slight issue with the ute version, even though it's had the suspension upgrades from the previous models. One of the issues in the pushability side of things is the plastic side steps. They're just not up to the challenge out on the tracks.
It was interesting. I mean, it didn't do very well on the hills and the test track, but it cruised through, well, certainly I was driving it most of the day and the hard stuff today, and it cruised through no problems at all.
It was impressive when that waterfall was coming down the road. I think I was following Penn, and it did not falter at all. You know, if it's going to play up in these sort of tracks with a ton of water coming down the road, that's when you expect it to happen.
Yeah, it didn't run out of wheel travel, that's the thing, yeah.
I like the new dash layout. I think they've stepped it up there, and it's gotten to that car-like thing that people expect out of an everyday dual cab ute.
Yeah, and it's easy to use. The buttons are nice and big. It looks pretty good. Yeah. Holden Colorado, like its sibling, the Trailblazer, it's got the same driveline package. So whereas it gets up the hills, it does it very hard. The traction control is not well calibrated. It struggles for grip on the steep and rutted tracks. It's got plenty of load space in it, good load capacity and good towing capacity, but getting the job done is where it will struggle.